All right, so now that we set the stage here for building our custom loop layouts and we talked about advanced filtering in WooCommerce and the limitations thereof, we're going to start talking about building out our own filters. Now, in the last lesson, we kind of went through and we built these loops. And in the archive loop module, we displayed these fantastic looking Apple styled product cards, which is awesome. But when you go to Amazon, and I talked about this a little bit before, you need a way to filter through these products, especially if you've got large product sets and things like that, where you can filter through things like the categories that I'm showing you right here, and then various attributes. You can add brands in there. There's really a lot of different things you can do with this. So, going through by rating, pricing, all that fun stuff. So we're going to go ahead and set that up. Now, we're going to be good and lazy, and we're going to be copying this archive loop module. So why don't we get started by going to the back end of our Divi site here, and we're going to go into the Divi library. Now, I'm going to open this one in a new tab just for simplicity's sake, and I'm going to go ahead and open up our shop page here. And why am I doing that? Well, that is exactly to access that archive loop module that we built out before. And we're just going to copy and paste that for simplicity's sake. And classic Divi double load, that's all good in the hood. And let me, in the meantime, while that's doing its thing, come here and we're going to add a new page. Okay, so we're here on our page. We're going to go ahead and give it a name. Now, of course, in the real world, you would have fancy name for this. It might be category. It might be some type of archive page or something like that. I'm just going to be calling this filter product. Why not? As an example. But again, you might be working on a production site or maybe a staging version thereof, and you can just do what you want with this, or just modify existing page if you already have one. Now, we are going to go ahead this time and use the Divi Builder. Now, I know before I said that we don't really use them on WooCommerce pages, but this is not a WooCommerce page. It's just a regular page that we're adding. Now, if you were to work with a category archive page or something like that, you'll be assigning those settings or the layouts in the BodyCommerce settings. So you would rather be building in the Divi library, but we're going to be doing it right here as a new page. But the process is almost exactly the same. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Divi Builder, and I'll save our draft there, and it'll punch this out in the front end. We're going to go ahead and click on Start Building, and we are going to be replicating something along the lines of what we've got here with Amazon. So basically, this is going to be one column, and then this is going to be another column. So we just need to select a row layout that supports that. Okay, so we've got this one that I think is kind of what's at 5th and 4/5, kind of looks like that. So we'll go ahead and select that layout. And the first thing we'll do is we're going to type in Ajax, and nothing happens because BodyCommerce, you can just type filter. So ARP filter posts module. And you'll see here that we want you to use it on the archive pages. So any page we have an archive of product, right? So go ahead and add that in there. Now, we're not going to mess around with adding filters just yet. Let's go ahead and get our archive loop on the page. So we're going to go back to that layout that we built out earlier, and we'll just come down here to the ARP product loop module. We'll right click that, copy, come back to the other page here. We'll just right click the plus and we'll say paste module. Now what that's going to do, it's going to be utilizing all the other settings that we had before in the other one. Now what we're going to end up with is an exact copy of the one we used on this page. Now you would see that it looks a bit funky over here. And let me just quickly preview this. So when I scroll down, you can see, okay, well, it actually does the exact same thing down here. So we're not going to worry about that too much. Because if we save this on the front end, we're pretty sure it'll look fine. It's just that this is not 100% Visual Builder compatible yet. We will give it a little bit more room here by opening up our row. We're going to go to Design. We're going to go to Sizing. And then we'll give it a maximum width of 90%. And we'll do the, well, not the maximum width. The width is going to be 90% of the maximum width. And we'll pull that all the way to the right. And you can see how it nicely fills out the viewport here a little bit more. So that is going to be the first step. So let's think about what type of filters we would like to add for the easy filtering here with the Ajax filter module within Divi BodyCommerce. But if you have Divi Machine or you have the standalone Ajax filter plugin, your process will look very much the same as this. Now, also, if you wanted to build a special loop layout or something like this for this page, be my guest. That's up to you. So first thing I want to do is just quickly publish this page, and then we'll just do a quick little scan on the front end to make sure that we're happy with the way things are shaping up. So exit the visual builder, and there we go. That's looking pretty decent, but there's some obvious things that we're going to want to add here to this archive loop. Remember, we didn't have any pagination on the initial one that we did on the homepage. So why don't we do that really quickly? And we can kind of look at some of the pagination options while we work on this. Okay, so we're going to get into our loop module here, archive loop module, and we're going to scroll down to the element options. And here we have it set to none because that's how we set it up previously for how to load more posts. We're just going to click on this drop down and we will just add pagination. And let's see what that does. Does nothing because it's not Visual Builder compatible. You're right. So, but just to evidence this for you, let's go ahead and save this and exit the Visual Builder so we can take a quick look at it. Okay, so let's scroll all the way down. And voila, we've got some very sexy pagination going on down here, which we can definitely change with BodyCommerce settings. So before building out the rest of this filter that we're going to have here, let me show you how we do that. So we're done with this part. So back on the dashboard, we will, of course, go to Divi engine and then to BodyCommerce. And then remember, we did this tour of these tabs. We will go ahead and find pagination right here. And now we've got all these awesome pagination styles that we can choose from. I am just going to make sure that I enable custom pagination. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can set all the different colors and stuff like that here again. And, also any of the pre-made styles. I said it once, I'll say it again. I am not a designer. I'm teaching you how to do this stuff, but not make it look pretty. So play with these settings to your heart's content. They're very intuitive to use. And I will just save this up and then let's go refresh this really quickly here and scroll down. And there you go. Much better looking pagination style here. And I'm pretty happy with that. So let's just go back into the Visual Builder and get down with actually adding some fields to filter through our set of products. Alrighty, so adding some fields here, we are quickly going to look at what we've got set up because, of course, the fields that you're going to filter by obviously would have to be something that has something to do with the products that you have. Now, your store might have different attributes and stuff like that. So let's go take a quick peek at our products. So I'm just going to go over back to this tab and I'll go to products. Now here, we can immediately see a bunch of different options here where we can go by stock, price. There's different categories. Maybe you've got tags on your site. Maybe you've got some other attributes. Because if I go here to the attributes section, you'll see that we've got brands here, we've got colors here, and we've got sizes. So all things that are useful to be able to filter through. So let's hop on back here and let's start editing our filter module. Now, the filter module layout is pretty simple. You can go ahead and add a filter field here. And then you've got some main options. So you can tell it that, well, I want the user to kind of click the button before it filters the fields, or you can just say on change. Now me, I'm an on change guy. You might be a different use case or something else that you want to do. That's up to you. And then we've got other settings like scrolling to the section after the Ajax update. That just basically means it'll scroll to that part on the screen. We're not going to be doing that. And then you can change things like the reset label. I'm not going to over explain things that just make sense and are pretty intuitive. But if you ever get lost, you can just click the little question mark button there and that'll give you more information on what you're looking at. Okay, so we've got the select to functionality and I am going to show you how to do that with, I don't know, we'll decide which one. Maybe the colors or something like that. No, colors will do something else, but we'll get to that. Now, underneath layout, you can decide where is this filter going? Is it in a side column? In our case, yes, it is. But you can also have it in a full width column. So if you want it to be above your fields here, and I'll do a little something at the end of this to kind of show you how you would do that. You can go ahead and do that. And you can hide the reset button, you can align it, all that fun stuff. And on mobile, of course, you can have different options to kind of decide how to display the filters as they, obviously you're working with less real estate, you might have different needs there. So one of the tried and tested and most common filter fields is the search field. So we give it a name, search field, that can be anything. You can change the labels in the settings here, but what are we going to be searching? Well, now also just one thing I want to mention here. Well, you would come over here and you have all the different items that you can go ahead and filter by. So you've got category tags, search text, which is the one we'll be using here, taxonomy, meta, all sorts of different stuff, and we'll be going through a few of these. They're all pretty self-explanatory. So let's just go search text, and then you've got like a typing delay for the filter. What that's going to do is it allows you to finish typing before it updates the results, because we're working with the magic of Ajax. Now, you're also going to want to come here to the post type. Now, if you were using machine, or maybe you're using just the standalone Ajax filter plugin, you're going to want to select what you're filtering. And these are the different post types. Now, if you had a bunch of custom post types in there, let's say you have Divi machine or something, they'll appear here. So you can select to filter those. Since we're doing an e-commerce store with BodyCommerce, we're going to go and select products. And now you can add a custom label for it. So it's going to take by default the admin filter name here. We're just going to leave it as is. But if you wanted to call it something else, like search products or whatever you want to do, that's where you would do that. Now, with the layout, you can see, I'm actually going to drag this over. So we can already see that we've got a search box in here. Now we've got the opportunity to show filter parameters. That's something I'm going to be showing you a little bit later on. I don't want the label for the search because, you know, the placeholder is a pretty decent way of conveying that. Now, if you wanted multiple filters on one line, this is where you go ahead and do that with the filter width. So if I set this filter to half, you'll see that it turns into half. And if I add the next filter field and set it to half also, it'll go right next to it. We're not going to do that with this specific one, but it's good practice to kind of take a look at these things. Now, if you come down to text, this is where you control the placeholder text. And if you do have something that's going to be number based, so let's say, for example, this is you've got a wholesale site and you want to be able to search by SKU. That is where you're going to want to enable this so that you can search by the number input. Okay, so select options. These things don't really apply. Conditional logic is one that would apply. And we'll look at adding some conditional logic a little bit later on. We won't be doing that now, but it is also another handy way to conditionally show different filter fields here in the site column. Cool. Okay, so that's one down. I'm going to save that. Oh, and just before I go on here, I just want to show you that also here in the design settings is where you'll go ahead and change what this box here looks like. So if we go to fields here, for example, and I make the background color red, it does nothing because it's not Visual Builder compatible. But on the front end, trust me, it'll be red. And then you can change the fonts and all that fun stuff. If you want to make a bigger text size, that's where you go and do that. So that's all good. And then also you can style the buttons for that specific field. This one doesn't have a button, but it's good that you know that. Cool. So thinking about products, why don't we go and select some categories? So let's say categories by adding this new field, and then it's already pre-selected category here for me. And post type, again, we are filtering products. We can go ahead and what type of filter do we have here? Is it a select box? Is it a number or range? Or is it going to be a checkbox or radio buttons? You guys know what these things are. We're going to keep it as a select. Now, also what value is contained within that field? Well, it's going to be text. So it's a string, or it could be these values right here. And then also you can order the terms by name, menu order, name, if it includes a number. So maybe you've got 1 electronics, 2 shirts. I don't know. That's going to be up to you. And you can also exclude specific options. So if you have a category that you don't want to display, you can go ahead and type them in here, comma separated, of course. And then you can also add a custom label. So I'm going to leave category up here and leave it as a drop down. That's fine. When we go to empty options, now this is a very important thing to wrap your head around. There's very good documentation we've got for you guys on this, because empty options really shows how this and the options within it will change as the Ajax updates. You know, I could spend all day going through this. You can say show empty filter options. So I'll demo this for you on the front end in a little bit, or you can just have it off as it is right now. So it will actually whittle down the amount of options as you're going through this. So there we go. Okay, so the layout, same deal as we had before. You can switch the label on and off. Select here, you can enable select to if you wanted to. I'm not doing that for this one, but I will show you guys how to do that. Now you can change that text. It says select option. Maybe you want to say select category, right? There you go. Select category. How fancy. Cool. And yeah, again, conditional options, background colors, all this fun stuff that you can do. Now, maybe we want to see if this is working. We're still going to be building out on these filter fields, but I just want to taste the pudding, if you know what I mean. Did that work? I want to see what it does. Okay, so here, if I select men, for example, we're going to get all the men's products here. And then when I click here, you can see that it's got all these other categories also. So if I go accessories, let's say, and open this up, you can see the fields are right there, but we've only got these limited items on the right-hand side. Cool. So it's working. Now that we've kind of tested and made sure that our categories are working, let's go to enabling the visual builder again. And I think adding a price slider would be another great addition to our layout here. So let's go ahead and do that. Well, not add a module. Let's open up the existing module, and then we'll just add another filter item. Now we'll say price. Price. There we go. And what type of filter is this going to be? Well, it is product price, of course. And then the minimum setting can be a number that you specify. It could be the minimum of a specific category, the minimum of the store. The options kind of speak for themselves, so that's fine. We can go ahead and add a custom label. We're not going to worry about that. And then again, we've got our like regular layout settings. Nothing life-changing here. But here down in the range area, you can see here that you can change the minimum and maximum setting there. You can remove the other labels. You can really get into really getting specific about what you want to show here. Now, the range from number will be, of course, the one that we set before. You can put a range point breaker, the number of steps. You know, there's really just so many options here. So the steps, of course, is does it go up by 1 or 5 when you're sliding the range finder or the range slider and so forth. Here, you'll find your different styles. So if I go sharp, for example, your range slider will look like that. And you can also go ahead and change all the settings about what it looks like here in range. You set the colors for the primary, the secondary. You can do the alignment. You can do all this fun stuff, but not doing the design part. And then, of course, the conditional logic, but that's pretty simple stuff. We're going to add that right in there. Cool. Let's add one more field here, and let's give the user the option to select brands. So we're going to go now by a product attribute for the first time. And we're going to go ahead and select the attribute we'd like to filter by. And well, we're going to select brands here. Now, because this is an attribute, you can go ahead and select the type of swatches that you wanted to display. So if I go ahead and activate this, you'll see that it creates these little circles here. Now, for my brands, I should have set them up with images. So let's go take a look quickly here at my products. And we'll go to attributes. And then if I come here to the brands and click on Divi, for example, there's no image associated. So what you would need to do is go ahead and set that up as an image attribute. To do that, so if you go brand and click on edit, here you've got the options and you can say image, update. And now I'm going to go back to attributes here and click on my brands. Don't delete it. We've got Divi. And if I edit that, now we've got the option to add an image URL for each of these items. I'm not going to do that right now, but I want you to be aware of this. A lot of people, oh, maybe we will set it up because I think a lot of you guys have questions about setting up brands for your Divi store. This is how you do it. So now we need the URL for these images. And if I come to my media library here, we can see the first one's Divi. So I click it. Now, if you're going to be doing this and setting up your brands from scratch, of course, you just saw how I set them as an image type. Now you can have them be whatever you want them to be. And I uploaded all these images and you'll just come and grab the URL and you'll come back over here. And for Divi, we'll add that one. We'll say update. And now you can see that it made a little icon for it, right? And we'll go through and we'll do that for each of these. So we've got Divi engine and I'll go to my library and find my Divi engine icon or logo or image. Now these might be, right now we're doing brands, but you could imagine how you could use for something else, like let's say fabric texture or different things like that. Just gives a little bit more for people. But fabric texture is probably something you'd add as a variation, but those are also, of course, derived from attributes. Cool. So we've got Divi engine in there now. We're going to go to WooCommerce next, and then I'll find my trusty WooCommerce icon here. There we go. And I'll copy that to the clipboard. And we'll just kind of go through and do this for each one. Now, if you wanted to add other ones or do whatever you want, be my guest. But these are the ones that we're going to use to show you how to get this set up. So the last one here is WordPress. And I will select my icon here. I'll copy that to the clipboard and I'll get that in there. Cool. Update. Lovely. Okay. So back on our page, the filters, where yes, we did come back to it finally. Yes, I know it's been a minute, but now we've got it. We've got brands here. We can select them and it's by product attribute. So those are the main options. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And let's go take a quick look and see what's happening on the front end for us now. Now you'll notice that I go back and forth quite a bit, and I understand that visual boulder incompatibility is a bit of a pain, but with Divi 5, don't you worry, things are going to be better. But now we can also test our range slider here. We can see our beautiful icons here. So if I go ahead and select Divi, for example, we'll have the Divi products or anything that's in the Divi category. If we select WooCommerce, we have the WooCommerce ones, so the ones that have that associated. Now, if they show up here, that means that they're within that category or they have that attribute assigned to them. But it's good to see that all of these have different ones. So, you might look at this and say, oh, well, brand buttons, why does that have one? Well, because when you go inside of brand buttons, you can see that there are different variations of this. So you can go ahead and select them and you can see the button update. How fancy is that? So let's just hop back here to our filter page. And then what else can we show? Let's go back and enable the visual builder. So we've got our nice range slider. We've got categories. We've got nice swatches. Let's maybe add some swatches for the colors also. That's Divi double load. Love it. And come over here. Great. Okay. So we do another one for colors. We go color. Oh, yeah, let's go color. You can go size because I've got the size attribute there also. So just that's entirely up to you. So let's go ahead. Product attributes. We're going to go with color. And you can see that first its instinct is to do the drop down. But then when you do tell it that it is a fancy item, there you go. And then you can also, again, control your sorting there. Great. Now, there's another version that I want to show. So let's save that one. And let's also allow users to select whether the item is in stock or not. So we can call this one stock status, for example, and we will go by stock status. Now, we're not going to go and do a select here. Now, what we'll do instead is we're going to do a checkbox, and it's going to be a string. And then here with the checkbox radio button style, you can have it show the amount of items that are either in stock or out of stock. Or you can also select, do you want users to be able to select more than one option? Do you want people to be able to deselect? There's so many options. I mean, this stuff kind of makes sense. It's very intuitive, but I wanted you to be able to see this and kind of decide which one you would like to use. Now, there is another one, which is here, the style. So you can do a Divi style one, buttons, all this fun stuff. We're just going to keep it as is right now. So let's go save this now. And let's take another look at the front end. There we go. And exit. Okay. So let's select out of stock. There's only one item that's out of stock. Now, what you might want to do is in your loop layout, you could create, I don't know, a badge or something like that that goes over this. I'm not going to deal with that right now, but there's just so much you can do. And later we'll be adding a wish list feature to this also, so you can get your eyeballs on that and see how that is done. And that's pretty good so far. I'm digging this. So if I hit reset, everything will come back and go back to normal. And this is a basic filter setup. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to get into a little bit more of the nuanced details, but we did a lot right here. So in the next lesson, we're going to look at advanced features of the Ajax filters and some of the settings that you'll find on the back end to kind of change how you interact with it. So catch you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching. I know this was a long one, so we'll continue real soon.